I sometimes think that it lags a little because then I see nothing.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like boom, boom, boom.
Oh shit! Did I not press that I finished this book? I finished this.
Hi everybody. We are live, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Everyone did like join at once, so. Hey everybody. Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone's saying hello right away. Crystal, the first one to the show. Crystal, you get the gold star. Right at 7 p.m. on the dot. I love it. Look at everyone saying hi. Hey, hey. Just been passing time finding books to buy. Oh man, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
I support it.
Can we talk about how long my TBR got from the Readathon prompts? Well, Sarah, I want to say you probably chose to make it that long because some people read like 2 books and it blacked out their bingo card.
Yeah, I only have to read.
Some of my books could have blacked out a lot more than I let them.
Yeah.
But since I had so many books on there, I was like, another one will take that spot.
I get that.
Uh-oh. Might have an interesting internet night because we have thunderstorms coming through. So if I freeze like happened yesterday, I will email the spreadsheet to one of you. I should have done that ahead of time so that we were prepared, but it's okay. So everyone who's joining, we're going to chat about like our favorite books and give people time to like get on, and we'll probably do the drawing by like 7:30 and we'll try to be done by 8. We'll keep this one a little shorter tonight. So that's the plan. So let's start with what was everyone's favorite book that they read. Let's do that.
Mine was Run, Posey, Run. It was fantastic. And I'm so glad that I finally read it. Because I heard everyone last year was like, oh my God, this book. And Jen's been waiting forever. And Jen thought that I had read it already. She's like, wait, you didn't read it? I'm like, no. So I finally did it. And it was amazing.
Yeah. I for sure was sure you read it. I thought Crystal was the only one who hadn't read it.
Nope,
and then she's like, oh yeah, this was my first Kate C. Wells. She said about the one. I was like, no, it's not. You've read Run, Posey, Run. And she's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like,
I didn't like connect that to Wells. She writes so many different things. So I know she wrote the Rejected Mate book that everybody's been loving.
That was the first one I read by her. Yeah. And then I read her. She has like regular contemporary, like Small Town too. So I've read different and an MC series too. She's everywhere.
Yeah, I read one of the MC ones.
Prolific.
My favorite I just finished like 20 minutes ago was Ivan by Sophie Lark. Finally, I read it.
Yes.
I was very because I didn't like Heavy Crown, and I was like, am I gonna risk not liking another one of hers? But I've only not liked 2 books by her, so it's fine. But I loved it. It was so fun.
Ivan was my favorite from last year's Mafia Romance Readathon. That was my favorite.
Yep.
I just love how she was the assassin.
I know. Wasn't she so cool? She's such a badass.
So cool.
Yeah.
Sloane is
she's the first in a long line of Sloanes that are amazing. Like I've read like 3 books recently.
J.T. Geisinger has Sloane, right? Yeah.
When I literally made a badass female list, and I was like, so my 2 favorite are both Sloanes.
And for my end of the year, like favorite characters and stuff, I'm like, why do I have Sloane twice? I'm like, oh, there were 2 Sloanes that I love this year.
On the Smart Room Read Romance, both her and Juliet were like Sloane and Sloane. Oh, I like Sloane. There was lots of Sloanes.
There were so many Sloanes.
I feel like I heard something else recently that also had like a Sloane in it. Like it's such a great, like I love that name now. I'm like, it's such a badass name. It's just like a constant, like that's what I'm now gonna like associate it with.
Yeah. They're such completely opposite characters too. So it's kind of funny. Because like Sloane is like the sly fox who's like get in and get out. And Sloane and the other one is just like, I'm here, everybody. You can bow down and know that I'm here.
So true.
They're just so totally different people.
But especially since I finally read that this weekend. So
yeah. Was that your favorite? What was your favorite?
Actually, my favorite still is the first book I read for this, which was Bloody Union by Brooke Summers. It definitely has a lot of the Yvonne vibes from Sophie Lath. Like they're just these two like really like this couple's badass, but she is like so secretly like no one knows how badass she is. And then like as you learn all her secrets, you're like, girl. And she's like, yes, like everyone, like when you get her name's McKenna. And she's Irish and she's so awesome. She's like one of the coolest heroines. And then I've got like 50 pages left of the second book. So I picked it up as the last book of this. And the heroine in that as well also has like some really like cool secretive things like no one knows about her. I don't love the second book as much as the first one just because there is some things that are just not handled with enough time. Like it needed more time to handle some of the topics that were thrown in there. And I was like, it feels a bit rushed. Plus, that one is the second one is I forget what it is. They're all something union, but it's a accidental pregnancy. So she's also pregnant throughout the whole thing, and so there's some time jumps throughout the pregnancy. So like by the end, she does like give birth, which was like also a bit strange. So it's still really good. Brooke Summers is definitely like an author that I'm now like keeping an eye out on for sure because I really enjoyed the first book. But I don't want to give too much away because like the synopsis of Bloody Union is like very vague, and then like as you learn shit, you're like, okay. So
that's a long series.
Yeah, I think she's up to like book 9 or something.
9.
Mm-hmm. But they're pretty short. They're all like under 300 pages.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not like, chunkies. So.
Well, my favorite was the last one. I read Owned by a Sinner too. Which I know a lot of people did. A lot of people read Taken and
Everybody.
Owned. And
yes.
Yeah, Taken didn't work for me. So maybe this isn't going to be a series for me. But I started Owned last night after reading Sprints. I finished Brutal Prince, my reread, and then I was like, I'll just read Owned by a Sinner right now. Because if I don't read it, I probably won't go back to this. I was like, I'm not going to go back to the series if I don't read it now. And I immediately loved that. I love that one way more. And they definitely are standalone. Like, these ones are definitely are standalones. The only way they're connected is that all the men are part of the priesthood, but they literally are on different continents and on different everything. Because the first couple is barely even mentioned. Like, list is vaguely mentioned. So I was like, I feel good about this because I can recommend Owned by a Sinner without the first one. But a lot of people did like the first one, so maybe they'll be fine with it. But I just didn't like that one like at all. And Liam
disconnected from everything. Is the series disconnected from everything else that she's written too?
It's connected to a lot of it from what people are saying to me.
So I'm wondering
because like the Monarch Academy, I think Monarch Academy is the center of like a lot of her worlds actually, because when you read in the back of her book, it like says different things how they connect, because the Monarch Academy is actually called the Saints series now. It was called the Monarch Academy, and so this series is the Sinners series. So like there was the Saints and this is the Sinners series, and Monarch Academy is this like safe zone where like the Mafia people can go and like train or learn, and there's no killing there, kind of like that. So cool. Love it.
I've just been seeing Michelle Hurd everywhere.
I know. Now I'm like, I need to like start somewhere. So let's go.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean, I really want to read the rest of the series as it's coming out now. Like I will, because the other guys are name dropped in there, and it's going to be cool because there's going to be an Italian mafia. There's going to be I don't know if there was a Mexican one and a cartel in there, but next year, potentially, that series could work to the entire board. What?
So book 1 came out in March. Book 2 came out in May. Book 3 is going to come out in June. Book 4 is going to come out in July. And book 5 is going to come out in September.
Yeah. She's definitely like either pre-written a bunch of them.
Yeah, I was like, how? How is that happening?
That's how rapid release go, though. That's how rapid release
like
goes.
Rapid release. Like you get them. You get.
How did Mafia Wars come out one a month for an entire year?
Well, that's crazy too. Like, I don't know how bloggers can write that much.
Yeah.
How long?
The first one's like 400 pages.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still like chunky books. I mean, so are Maggie Cole's.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel like I keep
I don't know how. Like they must like write 24/7, not do anything else.
She literally wrote through 3 keyboards in 18 months. She literally like wrote through the keys.
How did she like have functioning fingers? I was gonna say like
they had to slow down. Yeah. Yep. That's why she like took a bit of a break.
I mean, I'd be like,
but then this series is still coming out 1 a month now because she's like 4 books ahead, and now she's gonna be releasing them once a month. So
okay. I don't know. Goodreads says it's 400 pages, so that might be wrong though.
Well, and sometimes like it's sometimes the Kindle books at the ending of them, maybe it's like a prequel to like the next one or like
that's true.
Yeah, I will say having the physical book of Taken by a Sinner, it has kind of that formatting that like Sophie's do.
Where they skip a line
where they're very spaced out.
Yeah, it makes it longer.
Like, there was lots of around and lots of space inside. So yeah, my book was 380 pages. That's it starts on page like 15. Like the first chapter starts on page like 15 and it ended like 15 pages before then. That's fine. I'm not shading it, but it's not as big as it seems in the Kindle. Like it read extremely quick because it's very which is fine. So sorry, Sarah, I'm not sure what you mean by stand up because they are still Mafia guys. Liam was swoony because of reasons, but Nicholas was not at all. So that's a subjective term when you're reading Mafia. If you want a stand-up guy.
Well, the hero that I read, he was very against like human trafficking. Like he was in the Mafia, but like that was one of his like things. He was like, absolutely not. Let's go free slaves. So I don't know if maybe that's a theme with a lot of her other books. I've only read that one.
It is. It is in because the priesthood, they don't allow anyone in who is in the flesh trade, is what they say. That's one of the conflicts.
Yep. That sounds worse.
That's
that sounds good.
It sound bad.
Reminds me of the pig farm stuff. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not a sex trade. If it like that sounds like you're trading for something, like it's flesh. Like that's what it is. That's how they see them. So make it uncomfortable. A lot of great ones to choose from, but possibly Filthy Rich is at the top.
I need to get
Diana, I co-sign Filthy Rich. Oh yeah, Justin, you should talk about what you finished last night.
Yes. Okay. So yesterday, while we were doing the reading sprints, I was reading A Bullet Between Us, but then I switched to Mafia Mistress, and I was having a really good time. I was warned for a lot of things that were happening. Like the character is a little bit of a brat, but I already knew because Jen told me about it. And I was able to just like really enjoy the craziness that was going on. And so I finished Mafia Mistress late last night and immediately started Mafia Darling. So I finished both of them and I gave them both 4 stars. I thought they were fun.
I need to read those too. Right. I just feel like I see everyone reading them and that makes me not want to read them.
That's how I am too.
So
more
fun.
People that gush about it, I'm like, but
I want to read Mafia Madman real bad. So oh yeah, thanks for noticing my name, Alyssa.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice.
Well, when I share comments, nobody.
It goes away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
my favorite was
Bloody Heart.
I feel like Bloody Heart is a very hit or miss. People either like love that one or they're like I was a meh person. Yeah. But then we have friends who like loved it. Like you, for example.
Yeah. I'm a meh person for Bloody Heart too. I love Dante.
But you don't like time jumps, right?
No.
I don't. And I don't like it when it's halfway through the book or when it's because of a secret baby. Don't like it.
I really disliked her parents, and I didn't like that she still liked her parents by the end of that. It didn't make sense.
You're like disowned.
There's a lot for me. Like I love Dante, and I bet I can only imagine what it was like when that was like originally coming out because everyone wanted Riona and Dante to be together. And like I'm obviously okay with where Riona ends up, but I can imagine how upset I would have been at the time if I was reading them. And it was like
it's so funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, because
I remember
Sophie
Juliet
said
was reading it and she was like, I know Dante and Riona are going to get together. And I'm like, okay.
I never thought that.
I'm like, okay.
See, and I never thought that either because
No,
I didn't see him.
He said,
yeah,
like there's a hint in Savage Lover, whereas he was never the same. Like after he left and then came back, and I was like, he was in love with somebody. I was like, it's not Riona. He meets Riona in the beginning of Brutal Prince, which I liked because that was the thing. So that was the thing, you guys. I reread Brutal Prince and like I gave it 5 stars this time because like they were my precious babies in this one. Like they're my precious little babies in this one this time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. And they were like,
everyone keeps mentioning
it's Maggie.
Oh, okay.
Is that her new one?
Everyone read it. Yeah.
I get like 17 times in comments, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's the next one comes out next Sunday. So these ones she's gonna have, I think, like 12 in this series too. After that one had 10.
I'm never gonna catch up to that ever.
Right? Oh, that's not true. You've read all of Cressley Cole. You could get through Maggie Cole someday if you want to. You don't have to.
You have to have the willpower.
Anyway. Right. And I mean, it's convenient too. Like she does dual release with her audiobooks and her book, which is really nice. Like she's far enough ahead that she's able to do that, which is great.
Which
but
I
like rereading this, I was like, wow, all of these characters are so awesome. I loved this so much. So that was a fun thing. Glad I got to do that. But yeah, Dante, because Dante's the grumpy brother who's like, you guys, quit messing around.
The bro, what's the
party for everybody? And Nero and Ada are just like, we're crazy.
Love
so good.
Oh
but I get like, I also get why people think that she's such a brat. Because she is a brat. Like, there's no denying she's a brat. But I just love that they are both brats. Like, Callum is a spoiled brat, too. Like, he's just older. And I love that Enzo and Fergus are like, you children don't know what a war is. So sit your ass down and stop fighting all the time because we know what war is like and you don't. And they're all like, oh, he popped his kneecap. We got to go kill them, you know? And it's like, you started it, sit your ass down because you know what actual mob war is. So stop. And I just really felt that. And because they don't, they have no idea. They have no idea what it's like, which is they're not prepared for it when it happens later.
They grow on you as a couple as well throughout the series. Like I felt like as I kept seeing them throughout the series, I began to love them more and more and more. Like as individuals, I know that if I went back and reread book one, I would rate it higher a second time around just because I know them more as they got older. And like this series, and also when you see them in Kingmaker, when you see them overall, there are just certain, and I think that's one of the benefits when you have a long series is like when you see couples, like I tried to read us another book today. One of the ones I picked up was like a second in a series because the author had sent just the second book and I was like, okay, I'll try it. But like I started it off and I was like, I have no idea what the hell is going on because I don't know any of the other couples that keep getting, like the other couple keeps getting mentioned. All these other people keep getting mentioned. And I'm like, you can't, like there is some, I feel like with most Mafia series, you kind of need to read them in order because you do see the couples all the time because they're a Mafia family. They always pop up. Like it's so difficult because, and then the authors don't always, they try and like introduce you to stuff, but this one just like threw me right into it. And I got like 50 pages in and I was like, I can't get behind this couple because they've obviously known each other beforehand. And I'm just like thrown into their whirlwind romance and I have no backstory as to like why they're like 10 pages in, he's like, honey, I love you. And I'm like,
when did this happen?
I know.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing because I think that it can be too much the other way because one of the things that I tell people a lot is that like Maggie Cole, her books are all taking place at the same time. So technically you could jump into anyone that you want because she will over explain everything that happened. But the first 6 books are literally taking place on top of each other. Like they all take place on top of each other. There's like an inciting incident in the first one, which is that the bachelor party in Vegas where like, Aspen and Maxime, but then that's also when all of his brothers meet all of her friends. So like, but then you see those scenes from other person's POVs. And if you're binging them, by the time you get to the 4th book, you're like, I've literally seen the same fucking dinner from 8 point of views and I'm done.
Yes.
But it's okay if it's like when
I read Savage Tracker, I'd forgotten like a lot of the things, and so it was kind of nice coming into Savage Tracker after it being such a long time after reading books 1 through 3. So I was like, oh, okay, and it kind of stood up well as a standalone when I read it.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, though. It's a double-edged thing, because it's good if you're spacing it out, but if you're doing them all at once, it can be a lot of repetition.
Repetitive.
I remember skipping.
Yeah.
Particularly books 2, 3, and 4, because then like book 5, they're kind of separated from everyone else because it's a forced proximity thing. But anyway, okay, enough about that. My point is, I understand what you were saying about a series where you do need to read them all, even if it's a separate couple with a separate plot.
Yes.
But you should still read it in order because it's important to do that. But other series you can drop in and it's fine. So
even Carnal Urges, I'm like, well, how that freaking, I hate that epilogue.
Yeah. She does that.
Whatever.
I don't even remember the epilogue.
That series is very rewarding if you read them in order, but you could kind of, 2 and 3, I don't know how you could separate those two, but
from where I'm at the moment, I can't imagine. I was like, because as I was reading Carnal Urges in my vlog, I was like, you don't really need to have, like, you don't need to have read book 1 to go into it, because it is, I feel like with a lot of captive romances, you rarely need to have read the other, like, those are the only ones in a series where when it happens, you might not have had to read other things, because the captive relationship tends to be very isolated from anything else that is happening ever, except for like maybe the inciting incident as to why he captured her. But otherwise, they tend to always be like so isolated that you don't see the characters. It doesn't make too much of a difference.
Yeah,
but I feel like book 1 set up book 2.
Exactly.
So you get more out of it if you do read them.
Yeah, you always get more out of it. That's like with most series. Yeah. You just get more. It's like the same thing historical romances. You get more out of them from having read.
Yeah. I think it's good to have them most separated, because if if someone doesn't like a trope or a trigger that happens in one, then they can
skip it.
Be like, you could go to this. It's fine, because I mean, Natalie does say, she's like, yeah, my girlfriend, she was friends with him, and then this happens and that happens, and you're like, hey, that's what happened. I'll read it and see it happen if I want, but I know what happened. So,
well, that's like people skipping like Savage Lover, because I know it's like that's my least favorite, but like that incident like is important to the last book, so like it's important to understand like everything going on with like the Mafia world and reading those books in order. So
I barely paid attention to Savage Lover, and I still had a wonderful reading experience. I just want to put that out there.
I just feel like there's like important things that still happen.
It is. And in my opinion, it's also one of the plots that just consistently stay as a part of like even as the other books come out, like with Kingmakers, it's still a plot that is an important one that ignites from that storyline too. So it depends. I did read a really great Beauty and the Beast one. It was Broken Prince by R.G. Angel, and it was such a different one, because like she is not captured as like a Beauty and the Beast, but she comes to work like in his manor as like a housekeeper, and he hasn't been a whole housekeeper, like he's a huge recluse from like an accident that happened, and he's a scarred hero. It had very much like historical romance feels to it too because of that. Because I feel like you see like the typical scarred hero in historicals really came in this one, and it was just such a different take on like a mafia romance, because like he was out of the mafia because of him being a recluse, and then meeting this girl, and he was like, no one would love me, I did all these bad things, and no, and then it's like, then he falls for this like lovely girl whose like parents are shit, and it was like really good. It was a nice like split up from like the typical mafia romances to have something that felt very different, but still mafia-esque. I like that.
Nice. Okay, well, I think we'll do the prize drawings, and then we can, because it might take a little bit. So I'm doing something a little bit different this time, everyone who is ready for this. So we had 69 entries, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm a 13-year-old man. It's great. So what I did for this is, I know normally I do a spinner wheel, but we have prizes that are for anyone can win anywhere in the world because our lovely authors are willing to ship them internationally. And then I have 3 prizes that are for US only because I have to ship them, and I love you all, but I have to watch be careful with shipping things right now. So what I did is all of your entries, I put them into a spreadsheet. I'll share it in just a second. And I hid all of your personal information. So no one's going to see your personal information. That's only so I can send you a book. And Jessen has a random number generator between the numbers 2 and 70, because on a spreadsheet, it starts at the number 2. And we're going to do it for each of them. So, oops, I switched screens and didn't share the screen. So here's the screen. There we go. So here's all the prizes that we have. We have Filthy, and then the Dawn and the Lady obviously will go together since they're duet. There's Ivan, Brutal Prince, and the Heir, which Sophie will be signing and sending out. And then the $10 Amazon gift card is also international. I can send that to anybody. And then there's the 3 prizes that I'm going to be sending out. So Ruthless Stranger and Toxic, which I have right here, and they are signed. Maggie signed those. And then I will ship the Readathon mug to someone too. So that's what we have. And then, like I said, yeah, it's 2 to 70 down here. So let's go ahead and do it, Jessen. Give me the first number, and this will be for Filthy.
All right, the first number is 30. I don't know if we could see.
Woo. Well,
no, I'm trying to like read the name.
That's for Judith. Yay for Judith. I wish I had like a clappy sound. Everyone needs to be excited.
You know what you
for her.
can do is also like highlight the name.
What?
You can highlight the name too to remind yourself later.
Oh, okay. Oh, down here.
Mm-hmm. Because that way you remember.
Good point. Perfect. Okay, for the Dawn and the Lady.
43.
Melissa.
Oh,
yay. That's awesome.
It's more exciting when they're here on the live so they can see them.
I know. Yay. Yes, Judith. It is you. It is you. Congratulations. Okay, and then next is a signed copy of Ivan.
5-star read. Actually, all of Sophie's are 5 stars that are on the giveaway. So
6. Number 6.
Oh wow.
Hold on, sorry. I'm gonna highlight this one too. Number 6 is Faith Petch. Sorry for
international at work.
Yeah. Sweet. That there. I feel very exposed doing my spreadsheet in front of people. I'm so awkward. Okay. The next is for a signed copy of Brutal Prince.
Okay. Oh, we already picked that number. 34.
Wow. It seemed like
4. Yeah, is for Tyne Win. Awesome.
Let me clap for everyone.
Yeah, please. Sorry.
We should have like an applause thing.
Celebrate.
See, that's the thing when you do the spinner wheel does like clap for you.
Yeah.
So that's only that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then for the Heir.
Okay. 13.
Oh, it's right there.
Heatherly, congratulations. I know she likes Sophie. That's great.
Hey.
Sweet. Okay. And then this will be for the $10 Amazon gift card that can also be international. So
21.
Ooh.
Megan Kantz. Woohoo! I will send that to your email after this. Megan, if you're watching this, so make sure you check that, because sometimes it goes to your spam folder and then I feel sad. Which number was that?
21.
21. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, like you kiss.
Okay.
I'm like, it's that.
I know. I told you. It's like so awkward. Oh, Meg, that's you. Sweet. I like your channel name or whatever. Okay. Now for the books that I have in my possession. Let's just. I know I'm in the tiny corner picture, but
it's still sexy. It's still sexy.
I know. These books are so beautiful. These are signed by Maggie. Oh, love this man. Okay, so let's go for Ruthless Stranger.
Okay. I have 42.
April. I won't try to pronounce your name and make a mockery of it, but April, congratulations. I will be mailing this out tomorrow. That one was 42. Beautiful. Okay, and for a copy of Toxic, this is Dante and Bridget. This is a second chance romance that takes like 22 years or something like that.
Oh, okay. 60.
Ooh, okay. Hey, what was that? Is it toxic? Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Amber, congratulations. Okay, and for one of the Readathon mugs. So this was the previous design, which was not great because it is barely readable, but the current design is like much bolder. So this was my sample mug, which is why you get a sample sometimes, because it looked prettier on the website. But I will send this out from Teespring to whoever wins that. So
3.
One more. Oh, wow. And that's to Lindsay. Well, there we go.
Congratulations.
Sweet. Yay.
Yeah, that's always so fun. I love giving things away. Okay. We'll take that away. Excellent. Congrats, buddy. And none of the authors are watching right now, but thank you to all of the lovely authors who are going to send nice things to us. It's very nice of them. Next year, when I'm like, I'll just gonna like put out a blanket thing and be like, if you have a Mafia book, you should enter it in this giveaway for people. And we'll see how many like new authors or something would want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Be like a Google form. They can just be like, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to discover new authors that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, like, would you donate a book? Are you willing to ship internationally? We'll put your book in this giveaway to people. I don't know. Seems like a cool way to promote it.
Take the whole live show just to give away books.
Right. Oh my gosh. I would love that. I was like, we'll just do this the whole hour. That's fine.
Who doesn't love getting free presents?
Right. Just have it be like, you just have to be willing to take an Instagram pic of it or whatever and review it, just like you would anything. Seems like a good way to get a bunch of authors out there. But anyway, let's see. Here's a question. Is there a book you want to read because of someone's review from this week? Did anyone convince you to read anything this weekend? I feel like that's a good question.
I'm going to pick
I really want to read The Bloody Union. Yeah. I want to read The Bloody Union. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that one does sound good.
That one that Tiffany read with the crazy cover with the Dia de los Muertos makeup on.
Did she finish it yet? Did she say what her rating was? I haven't been on.
She loved the first one. The second one she only gave 3.5, but I think the first one was 5 stars for her.
Okay, cool.
Unless she's still in the comments. I don't know. See what she says. But yeah. Bloody Union. Nice. Yeah. No, that looks really cool.
Yeah, everyone's like, Michelle Hurd is everywhere now.
I was gonna say I don't read Michelle Hurd, so
I mean, even I feel like I even put her because God, I did like a recommendation, like a TBR book for each and every single prompt, even though like I had things that could go everywhere. But I was like, I remember Michelle Head was definitely one that I'd like put on there. I just didn't get to it.
Yeah. Oh, the first was 3.5.
Oh, the first.
But you're gonna keep it. Okay. I thought she'd read the second one too. Okay.
What was the dragon?
I'm still.
Huh? Dragon?
Yeah, I saw that earlier. They said it was like a pretty low angst one early. I don't know where it went.
Did anyone read? See, I never. Next year, like, there's a lot of things. Next year, I'm not going to put Brother's Best Friend on there. Don't know.
I did find one for that.
Yeah, like there is one that I read, but I also want to do one that's like miscellaneous Mafia, because like there's a Yakuza is also one, but I didn't make it its own because there's only a few. Yeah, there's Yakuza, and then there's what's the other one I heard someone mention? I don't know. But I liked that. The Greek one. It was Greek that the first one was Greek, and they're in Canada. It's in Vancouver. So I thought that was interesting. So yes, the Albanians. Oh, and I read a Romanian. So I was like, I want to make one that's like a miscellaneous and see like what a Mafia group. Yeah. Yep, the triad too. Yeah. So there's definitely some that like I wouldn't make it its like own prompt, but I could make it like a miscellaneous, and then the Polish.
Like a lot of ones.
Like every country has its version of the Mafia.
Yeah. Even like finding a good Cosa Nostra is like I feel like there are certain authors that make a bunch of them, but there's not like ones you just want like random ones. There's like as many as you can find, like the Bratva and like the Italian and the Irish. Like the reason why I give Cosa Nostra its own is because like the Sicilian Mafia is literally like the original, because Cosa Nostra is a Sicilian. It means like the brotherhood, and it's like the original. And most of the people, they just call it the Italian Mafia if they want, like they'll just call it that. But like it is its own thing. And like in the Michelle Hurd ones, they are fighting the Sicilians in those ones. The Sicilians are the bad guys in that one. Well, I mean, they're you know what I mean. Oh, yeah.
So relative to who we're rooting for, they're the bad guys.
Right. Just like in any, like sometimes it's the Brock for the bad guy. Like everybody's got their own thing. So I just like seeing people like come on.
Yeah. Someone did mention doing this more often than just yearly, since it's just a weekend, which I would be okay with, but
I'm always down
thing. So
we can
I mean, so two reasons why I did it. I absolutely would this year like do one later. The problem that I run into is there's literally one every month, and I know sometimes you just got to stamp it and be like, I'm pushing in here and I'm doing it here, but there's like the entire month of February is one. January, there's usually like a beginning of the year something. There's like Kindle clear outs that pop up. You get too close to the fall and you have paranormal after paranormal after paranormal. Like there's so much in there. And then there is the dark romance readathon itself. So it's like, I just have to be like, I'm planting my stake here. Y'all can move around me. That's fine. Because you can have readathons going on top of each other. But, you know, I also like the more vague ones that there are, you know, like when I do just the romance just the romance in general. What do I even call my romance readathon? I can't remember the name of it. Can't remember the name of my own fucking readathon. But because that one, you can make that into a dark one, you know, if you want. And like for the dark romance readathon, that's how Brie like was starting to read Mafia, is because she did the Mafia prompt and then all she read was Mafia for the whole time. So yeah. I'd like to do because like it's really sad that I haven't done the light versus dark again. And I would kind of like to do a readathon that is like the dark versus light again, but it's like criminals versus like lawmen, and like have one that's like firefighters, detectives, police officers, that verse, and then like the other side could be the criminal side if you wanted, and have it be like, but mix it in, like have it be like pirates and mafia and like, you know, what
just
else?
like crime organizations and
just like crime organizations instead.
Like even the
that
MCs could count.
Yes, that's the other one. There's like MCs and mafia and like all the shady stuff. So
crime
yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of the next iteration that I see that one being, is have it be like the good versus evil readathon or something, and have it be like that. Be really interesting.
Much more like vague. So there's like a lot of different options, because there are some that are like, there's so much difference sometimes with like, it's just a organized crime versus it being like an actual mafia group, or like someone who's like undercover and shit.
Well, and someone had mentioned it to me that, because they were like, yeah, you should do light versus dark, or there's readathons people do in the fantasy realm where like you pick a team or whatever, and you like have different prompts for your team. So someone had like, they were like, what if you did something like that? And that of course got my brain spinning, and I was like, could you pick like a mafia? Could we do it almost like the Kingmakers, and you're like the heirs or like the accountant, you know, and it could be like teams or something, where you're like are going to school for something, and so they have like so many prompts to get your like degree. Like they did that like with, it was a Hogwarts one. They do it where you like go to school for something, and then the next year or the next season you do it, you're going for like the owl level, like you do it for, or you're going for the newt level or something.
That was very complicated.
It was super complicated. I would not want to complicate it.
Well, I don't know how they like put it all together. That's so much work.
It was such
I would like, I did it 1 year and then I didn't again, but also because I wasn't reading as much fantasy anymore and I didn't want to do it. But I would do it more simple of like, there's 2 different boards you could do. You could do like, you could do the lawmen, or you could do the criminals, or you could like, you know, you could try to do both and have it be like a week-long readathon or something. You could try to do both and be like a double agent. Be a double agent. So I don't know. I'd have to think about it, because I know people would be into it, but I also don't like making things too complicated where like I have to do a lot of work to explain it.
Yeah.
I like want it to be like, because with like light versus dark, for light versus dark, it was literally like if you picked a team, and then you could read a book on the other team and get 2 points for reading a book that was outside your comfort zone. So the people on the light side, the people on the light side were reading like, you know, small town romance and like brother's best friend. And then the dark side, they were reading dark romance. But if the light side, if they read a dark romance, their book was worth twice as many points. But that was back when like 30 people did my readathon, because I was a tiny channel. So only like 30 people did it. And that was already confusing because I had to keep track of the points. And so like when you do the team ones, you have to have captains. Yeah, you have to have captains on top of it. And I had like a Google form. So people got the Google form every time they read a book. And then I tracked, I just did it by team who read it. But there was only like 40 people who did it. And it wasn't too hard, because I literally looked at the form, and if it was a light, and then it was how many points it was, and I put it in there. But if I had 100 people do it, like, oh my God, I couldn't handle that this time. So, oh my gosh, Tiffany, here's a real.
But it could also be like not point based, and it could just be like, oh, like you participate in like you know, the reading sprints for like X team, like if you want to do that, and like it's more sort of like a group chat. It was because it was get too technical, because there's so much more effort that goes into it.
Because it was really fun though, because like we did have a winner with points at the end, and then like there was a prize to draw from if you were on the winning team, and then the person who read the most books got a prize. Like that was really fun. It was really fun. It's just, I know the amount of participation that I would have now, especially if I have people involved who also have channels bigger than mine, like it would be a lot. So I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah, like too much work. No, I get that.
Yeah. we could definitely bring the light versus dark back, but I like the idea of making it be like a cops and robbers type of thing, you know, or like I like it being that kind of theme because there's some cool graphics we can make with it, and it could be fun because you could involve any kind of like any kind of books you want. Also, someone really wants me to do a fanfic read along, like just a weekend like fanfic one. People really want that, and I'm like, I would love that, but that's a lot. That's a lot.
So many options
anyway, I'm like readathons are fun, but I kind of am only committed to 2 a year that like I have to do. Like I will join lots of them, but yeah, the romance takeover readathon, that's what my fucking readathon is called. Okay, the romance takeover readathon and the Mafia readathon, and I'm like, good, that's enough.
But even like, well, you're also like running the whole Sarah J. Maas thing at the moment. Like even when I was doing like my Akatara along, like that was so much. That was just once a month having to like do a live show for a book, and that was still like a lot. I also just hate like I'm also a bad buddy reader. When I first started like BookTube, I was like so into it, and nowadays I'm like I will either not read the book at the same time you are, or I will like read it in a day, and you'll be like, oh, like I just can't do it anymore. I'm like not a good like I'm too messy to be a good buddy reader. Unless it's like a book club book, like have like an entire month to get to it. And then it's like, okay, that's like a different thing. But like buddy reading, it's like, let's do it this week. And I'm like, no.
Heather, they don't have to be clean to be on the good side of the board. You can read a Melanie Harlow and it can be on the good side of the board. I'm just as long as the person is like a hero and not an anti-hero. But also that just means you have to read twice as many dark books if you want to beat the other team. Like back when like Chloe, I don't know if any of you guys remember Chloe, but like she only kind of reads like, you know, like she doesn't read super smutty books at all, but she read like 3 dark books to get so many points because she was like, I am gonna win.
She was committed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she was committed. But also like the dark side, we just had a lot more people on that team. So
I was gonna say, what do you do if it's not even number?
Yeah, you just like you average it out. So what it became is the people on the light side, like their books were like worth like 1.5, but it's still like the other time they still read more books. So that's kind of how I had figured out. I had to do a little bit of math.
That just like sounds so complicated. No, we're not counting points.
Yeah. It wasn't like you can make Excel do it for you, and you don't have to.
Okay.
So if you literally do it at, you know, you do it as like a fraction. You do how many books were read by, like how many points for the side out of how many people did it, and then you do the fraction for like the light side, and then it figured out that like, okay, well this side still read like 2.5 books per person, and they read 1.75 books per person. So like they read. I am not a math genius at all, but I figured it out. I'm like, I was not. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, but it's fun to be creative. But I always say at the end of the day, like part of the reason why I, you know, like why I really liked the romance takeover readathon or like the Kindle clear out is like I don't want people to feel like there's a barrier to entry, even though to me, like that wasn't a barrier to entry. It's like, just read the book you want. And then however many points it's worth, just like, I'll figure it out for you. It's fine. But when it's like romance takeover, it's like, just read a romance, just read it. Any kind of romance you want. And it counts on your board. Like, there you go. It's on.
Yeah. It's not overly specified. Like it's way more like a general because it's not like specific trope or like subgenre.
But like some people like to get really nerdy about it. One thing I loved, I think the dark romance readathon did this. They literally had like a bingo board. Like they had specific things that you could find. So things that you couldn't look for in a blurb. They would be like, a knife is used to cut ropes on someone's hand. Like they have these various. So when you're reading, you actually
find
had to find it. That's fun.
Like an Easter egg hunt.
Like Pride and Prejudice hand touch. That wasn't in the dark romance one, but like, you know, it's like there is a brush of hands that shocks him, you know, like one of those type of, so like small gestures that you couldn't look on the back of a book to find out if it has it. You were actually doing a scavenger hunt. So they had their bingo board, but then they had like a scavenger hunt list of things to find, and I thought that was really cool.
Fun.
Yeah, you'd be reading and you'd be like, oh my gosh, there was a kiss in the rain in this one. I got that off of my thing or whatever. So yeah, it's fun to get nerdy with them sometimes too. I think as like creators, it can feel like more work than it is. Like I never want it to be work, you know? And even with like having readathons back to back, like I'm so excited to do the next readathon. And I'm also like, whew, I don't gotta be on camera for any of this one. I can just read what I want to read for you. Like I just want to get to do it. I made a TBR that's way too large right back here. I have like 12 books that are not all gonna get read.
Don't even. I also just deviate sometimes so far from my TBR that I'm just like, whoops.
Yeah. There's literally only 2 that I must read this week. Like there's 2 books that I have to. Everything else is I just want to read whatever I want. So we'll see what happens. I have some arcs that I have to read. So
mine, the only one that I have for this month is at the end of the month, and it's a YA, so I'm not too worried. I think I'm not gonna fantasy book in July.
Sorry, I'm answering a question. Keep
talking. Yeah, you're answering how many non-US people entered, I'm guessing. Oh, so exciting. I know. I definitely feel like I need like
There was 14. There was 14 out of 69 that were international. That's how many.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Theirs were all like turned in a lot earlier too, because that day ended for them sooner. So there's a bunch of US people right at the end. But yeah, that's about normal, because that's like a little under a third or a fourth. That's a fourth of the people. Remember? So.
Don't ask me math.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah,
sorry. Where's my calculator?
No. Too much. No. Jess, your readathon's next.
Yeah.
We knew we wanted to do it like soon, and then we had announced our Mafia one. I was like, we'll just start right after it. It's fine.
Yeah. It's a nice change, like to switch from
one to
the other. I'm either going to pick up, I have like a Rockstar romance that I want to get to this month, so I'm either going to pick that up next or a historical, just because I want like something like a different vibe right now.
I'm definitely in the mood for historical now. That's why I was like, I blacked out my bingo board. I'm starting a little early.
Yeah, I have a couple arcs I have to read that are historic. Like Candace was saying, I have some historical arcs, but I also have a couple other ones that I have to squeeze in there. But so it's all good stuff, though. It's fun.
For this readathon, though, I definitely had a TBR set that I did not follow. So that happens.
Oh yeah, I do this all the time.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't like any of the books that I was excited about at the beginning of this readathon, and I want everything new.
Yeah.
That's why I make my like TBRs for readathons excessively long, so that I have like so many to pick from. And then I'm like, which one do I actually feel like?
Yeah. I mean, I literally had a whole jar full, and I still was like, I only read 3 books out of that. The other 3 were because I saw people talking about a book so much. I was like, now I want to read that.
Totally get that.
I know. I almost dropped everything I read. Jessica Hawkins. Oh, this is true.
Yeah.
But people have been reading Jessica Hawkins again, and she is old with her Mafia romance.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally been on my TBR for like 3 years, because I think I saw you
I read it in 2019.
Yeah, when you read it.
And I bought it when it came up as free one time back then. So
I always do. Something's like 99 cents or free. I'm like, bye.
I have so many books on my Kindle that it was either free or 99 cents. I'm like, I might as well get it now. And then it just stays there.
Yeah, Jen, with you posted. Go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, 3 of us started talking, and I wanted to talk first. You posted your TBR, and you had Vicious Prince. Is that what it was called? And I was like, oh, it looks good. I already owned it from like one time when it was like free on Kindle or something. I was ready to like get it off KU, but I was like, oh, I had this already. Okay.
Right.
Especially when a book.
Well, that's what my whole TBR was. My whole TBR was ones that I'd gotten for free, or I'd had them the whole time, because I've said like I will search on Amazon free books and put Mafia as like the search word, and then just see which ones are free. That's how I find them all the time. And a lot of times, you know, it's first in series, the author will throw up as free, or ones that I've heard a bunch about, they'll run a sale on it. And then I'm like, oh, time to scoop it up. But what I was saying is that one time, I don't know how I would have the willpower, so I don't know if I would actually do it, but I want to do like a Kindle clear out that's like a whole month long and just try my best. Besides ARCs and my, like, you know, book club, I want to try to just read off my Kindle, because I know I have every genre on my freaking Kindle. Like, I have all of it on there, and ones that are books and ones that are whatever. I just want to try it once, where I'm like, okay, besides ARCs that I have to read and my 3 book club things, could I just read from my Kindle? Because I have 400 unread books, 30 fanfics unread on it. Like, that's how many I have in there. Like, so many. I have a couple comics on there too. So it's like, I could totally do it. In my head, it just makes me feel restricted. And I'm like, literally, it's like having a whole bookshelf in front of you, Jen. You're not restricted at all. It's an entire thing. But when I like go through my Kindle, I'll be like, no. And
yeah,
like,
totally get that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to do the opposite currently, because I've been accumulating like books that I've just been sent over like the last year, and like to the extent like you can see like they're now piling up like on top of my shelves, and I'm like, I need to start actually reading the things that I'm getting sent to me, rather than just like downloading things on KU just to be reading instead.
We don't want to talk about the ones that I physically have that I haven't read. That's a whole nother one. That is an answer that's 900.
The majority of these I have not read. This historical collection.
The historical collections
I have not read the majority of these.
That's like the historical romances. You collect them because they look so pretty.
Because they're beautiful.
And I still buy them on my Kindle to actually read afterwards. I just double buy them. Oh, it's such a bad thing. But I also buy some of them that are in such like conditions that, like, if I were to read them, like The Secret by Julie Garwood, the edition that I have of that, if I'd actually tried to read that, it would have broken.
Fall apart.
Yeah, without a doubt. So like I had to.
I almost decided to get the Kindle version of this to go to the beach, but I was like, no, you own it already. I'm like, just read it here. Just read it here. You're fine.
Yeah. My library.
I mean, I really get the audio
romances, so I can just like get them from my library a lot of the time. Like I have my library here, and then also like my parents's. I'm like linked to theirs, and like theirs is like has so many on it. Like there's not like a lot, there's like 1 or 2 copies per title, but there's like a way more of a variety. So like I've been pretty good with that, which is super helpful.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap this up because we have some things to do tonight. Some of us do, but thank you everyone for showing up. Thanks for participating. If you're a prize winner, I will get your info to the authors, or else I will be sending your stuff out. And yeah, I hope you enjoy Mafia forever now. If you started for the first time, you're welcome for being corrupted here. So everyone have a great night, and we'll see you some other time. Bye.
Bye.